Hello and welcome to the third instalment of the That Sports Blog video blog. Let's get underway and we'll start with football, and today saw the draw for the Champions League quarter-finals and semi-finals. So the ties for that, we'll see Manchester City take on Borussia Dortmund, Porto take on Chelsea, Bayern take on Paris Saint-Germain, and Real Madrid take on Liverpool. There are big ties there. Obviously, they're all big ties. Manchester City Dortmund will see Jadon Sancho return to Manchester City. We'll see the showdown between Bayern and Paris Saint-Germain of Lewandowski versus Mbappe, and we'll see a repeat of a couple of finals between Real Madrid and Liverpool in that one there. Porto Chelsea, we'll see Porto, who are a little bit of an underdog, a little bit of a surprise package after their inclusion there, after they beat Juventus and got through. Could be a real surprise package in this and cause some real upsets depending on how they do against Chelsea. So the semi-finals for the Champions League will see the winner of the Bayern Munich Paris Saint-Germain game take on the winner of Manchester City and Borussia Dortmund. So that match could see an all-German semi-final there. And then the second pathway will see the winner of Real Madrid, Liverpool, take on the winner of Porto or Chelsea. So there is a possibility there for an all-England semi-final, and depending on how results go, if Man City get through to the semis and win their semi-final against either Bayern or Paris, could see Man City taking on an English team in the final and having an all-England final, depending on how Liverpool and Chelsea fare in the other stem of that competition. Today also saw the draw for the Europa League quarter-finals and semi-finals. So the quarter-final draw for that will see Granada take on Manchester United, Arsenal will take on Slavia Prague, Ajax will take on Roma, and Dynamo Zagreb will take on Villarreal. Dynamo Zagreb had an amazing second leg against Tottenham. They went into the second leg 2-0 down from the first and won 3-0 after extra time, which absolutely stunned everybody. It was a fantastic display from them and they fully deserved to be there. So the semi-finals for the Europa League will see the winner of Granada or Man United taking on the winner of Ajax or Roma, which will give us a repeat of the 2017 Europa League final, which saw Man United beat Ajax. The other side of that, we will see the winner of Dynamo Zagreb Villarreal taking on the winner of Arsenal Slavia Prague. So that side of the competition, we could see a meet-up between Unai Emery and Villarreal against his old team Arsenal. The match between Rangers and Slavia Prague, which saw Slavia Prague go through, has been damaged by allegations of racial abuse and incidents of players clashing in the tunnel after the match. The incident of racial abuse occurred towards the end of the game when a player from Slavia Prague covered his mouth and said something into the ear of Glenn Kamara, which sparked a huge reaction from the Rangers player. On some of the video, and it's been confirmed by people who were in the stadium, you could hear Kamara shouting racist, racist. Whatever was said, the message got to Connor Goldson and a huge melee between the players broke out. And then there were unsubstantiated reports which have in the last couple of hours throughout today have been confirmed that there were clashes between the players in the tunnels after the match. The statement put out by Slavia Prague said that they deny the allegations. They claim that their players faced malice they've not faced in the modern game in a European competition, and brutal fouls from the Rangers players, and that the player who has been accused of the racial abuse was assaulted after the match. A spokesman for UEFA has said that they are aware of an incident which occurred in the tunnel between a number of players, but they're waiting on detailed reports from the officials who were on site before they comment any further. They've also said that they are waiting for the reports regarding the racist abuse. Rangers have said that they want action to be taken by UEFA and that they're not prepared for Glenn Kamara to just be another statistic. Steven Gerrard said in his post-match commentary that he was sad and he was angry that this had happened, and he trusts his player completely. He will back Kamara like Kamara is one of his own. So the problem for UEFA there is, with the mouth being covered, you obviously can't see what's being said. So you've got to hope that there's either enough people around who have heard it said. It appeared that Zungu heard what was said because he shouted something to the bench. He's along the lines of he said some that I'm not even going to repeat what you can hear him say. So the likelihood is there will be broadcast cameras in the stadium that are recording and have caught it. There was a couple of players around Kamara when the player went over to him, so it possibly may be that some of those have heard and may speak out against what's happened. So we just have to wait and see what comes out of it, as obviously UEFA move forward and begin to conduct their investigation into all of the incidents that happened at the end of that match. But moving away from that, we'll look at something a bit more positive now. Following the Liverpool-Wolves game on Monday, Rui Patricio is recovering well after the collision with Connor Cody. He posted a picture about 2 days ago on social media. He said that he's recovering fine, and he thanked everybody for the support and the well wishes that he received. So that's really positive news. It didn't look great when the collision happened, and he was down. It took about 12 minutes between him going down and them getting him off the pitch. But I think everybody will be very happy that he is doing well. The incident has sparked a bit of a debate about the offside rule and the linesmen have been told to keep their flag down and then put it up once the play finishes. People have said when that came into play that somebody's going to get injured, and obviously that's what happened in the Liverpool-Wolves game. So hopefully, like they have looked at the accidental handball that has now been changed following the Tottenham-Fulham game, I think it was, and that rule has now been changed for next season. Hopefully they will look at this linesman thing and get together with obviously all the teams and talk to them and make a decision that means that we're not putting players at risk. So I'm going to move away from football and I'm going to move into American football. The franchise tag period has happened and ended, so we're now into the free agency period and all the frenzy that comes with that. So out of contract players are now able to sign with new teams there. So during the franchise tag period, the Chicago Bears applied the franchise tag to wide receiver Allen Robinson. He has now signed his franchise tag, so he will be with Chicago for a year unless they decide to trade him away. They lost Mitchell Trubisky. Mitchell Trubisky has now signed with the Buffalo Bills. He'll be back up there to Josh Allen. But the Bears have added veteran quarterback Andy Dalton to their roster. So I'm not quite sure what the quarterback situation there is going to be. They still have Nick Foles there. So whether Dalton is going in to back up Foles, or whether they're going to compete together, or whether Dalton's going to be the starter, that's wanted to see what happens when the season starts and the Bears come out for the first time. Houston Texans have added former Chargers quarterback Tyrod Taylor to their team. Their quarterback position, who knows what's happening there, with Deshaun Watson saying he wants to leave, and some allegations this week have come out against him. So at least they've added somebody there in case Watson leaves or something happens. The Jacksonville Jaguars, who had the most cap space going into free agency, have added quite a lot of players, quite a lot of depth players, as well as potential starters, with the former Seahawks cornerback Shaquille Griffin going there, safety Rayshawn Jenkins, and veteran wide receiver Marvin Jones, who's come over from the Detroit Lions. So they're looking to rebuild. Obviously, they had a horrific season last year, just winning one game. But they have the number one pick, which everybody is expecting they will use on Trevor Lawrence. They've added some very strong pieces to the defense to help out what was one of the worst defenses in the league last year. It really struggled and regularly gave up more than 30 points a match. They've also added some pieces to that offense to help out the rookie QB that's likely to come in. They've already got some pieces there with DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, and James Robinson, but they've added veteran Marvin Jones. Philip Dorsett has come in there into the wide receiver room, as well as Carlos Hyde going into the running back room to serve as backup and some experienced voice to help out James Robinson. The big area of concern is the tight end room, where the Jags have 4 tight ends. One who came in from the Panthers during free agency, who's a bit more of a blocking tight end. James O'Shaughnessy re-signed, and then there's 2 younger tight ends in there. So potentially they're looking to draft somebody earlier on in the draft who's going to be a weapon for Trevor Lawrence. The Jags head coach Urban Meyer has said that the team aren't considering trading Gardner Minshew at this point. They have been receiving calls about Minshew, but with Mike Glennon leaving the Jags and now signing with the Giants, the Jags quarterback group at the moment consists of Minshew and Jake Luton and potentially Trevor Lawrence coming into that. So likelihood is one of them will stay as a backup. Personally, I think Minshew's possibly served as a better backup. He has won some games with the Jags, and he did look really good in that season when he had to come in for the injured Nick Foles. So potentially he may stay there, but it's whether closer to the draft his value rises a little bit, and teams want to trade for him, or the Jags decide they want to trade him away because they might be able to add somebody who's an experienced quarterback like Alex Smith. So it's one that's not, no one's going to know what's happening with that until something happens. There's still quite a lot of free agents left who are big names. Obviously, Alex Smith is still available. Larry Fitzgerald is still there, and people aren't quite sure what's going to be happening with his situation, as the Cardinals have signed AJ Green. But there are at least 5 players who were at the Chiefs still available, including 3 linemen, and Sammy Watkins, a wide receiver, is still available. There's also former Super Bowl winners with Ndamukong Suh and Antonio Brown who are still available, as well as the 5-time All-Pro and Legion of Boom cornerback Richard Sherman, having just left San Francisco. Now, the cornerback market is always an interesting one. Patrick Peterson has gone to Minnesota after leaving the Cardinals, but it depends on what the market is like for them and how teams view them. If you've got an aging cornerback, the biggest concern is speed and whether they can still keep up with and cover elite number 1 wide receivers, particularly when you've got very pacey rookie wide receivers coming in as well, with the likes of who obviously you've got youngsters trying to run against a 30-something-year-old. The advantage is more likely going to go to the younger player. So teams are the cornerback market for there is always an interesting position, and it boils down to do a team think that they are still a viable starter, and if not, are they willing to pay the money that they want for them to be a sort of a rotation player there. So there'll still be some big moves, and potentially some big players will still be on the free agency board until after the draft, once teams address the positions they want with their draft picks, and maybe they can't get what they wanted in a certain position, so then they'll go, oh, actually this person is still available in free agency, let's bring them in on a 1-year or short-term deal. So moving away from American football, and the basketball superstar LeBron James has become a minor partner of the Fenway Sports Group, the organisation that own Liverpool and Boston Red Sox. LeBron he's owned a 2% share in Liverpool since about 2011, and he's looking to sort of build into his sports ownership portfolio as he potentially starts to move towards the position where he will give up his basketball career. It's not going to probably happen for a few years now, but it does appear that he's starting to put some things into place to do after he retires. But this week, LeBron and the Lakers will take on the Atlanta Hawks. That's tomorrow night at 7:30 on Sky. Elsewhere this weekend is the FA Cup quarter-final weekend. Lowest side left in the tournament, Bournemouth, will host Southampton at 12:15 on Saturday, while Everton will host Manchester City at Goodison Park at 5:30, also on the Saturday. Into Sunday, and Chelsea will play Sheffield United. That's a 1:30 kickoff. And then Man United will travel to the King Power to play Leicester, and that's a 5 o'clock. Also on Sunday at 12 o'clock, we have the Old Firm between Celtic and Rangers as the last game of the Scottish season before they split into the table splits in half, and then they just play off against each other. Rangers will be looking to just build a bit more gap, while Celtic obviously wanting to try and consolidate their position in second and make sure they keep their foot in those European places. This week, players will then head off onto international duty for World Cup qualifying games. Both Republic of Ireland and Wales play on Wednesday. That's 7:45. Republic of Ireland play Serbia, and Wales play Belgium. England and San Marino. England play San Marino on the Thursday 7:45, and Scotland will play Austria on 7:40. Also 7:45. On Saturday at 1:30, the final day of the T20 series between England and India will take place. So that's the last test in the 5-test series there, which is currently tied up at 2 apiece. So, but if you're looking for something a little bit different to watch this week, BT Sports have got coverage of the Blackball Men's Open Squash Finals on Thursday. That's at 6:30. But that's all for this week. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.